Just once again, start out and say, my name is Mark, Rewritten Path. Um, it's my write about myself, my life, my journey. Um, it's all 100% factual. It's no exaggerations. All of these things have happened to me over the years. And it taught me a lot of stories. And it's unfiltered, uncut, and raw. Um, so, trigger warning. So, the ones who don't drown, they built this whole thing to break us, not kill us outright, just clip us slow, starve the soul, flood the lungs a little at a time, keep our heads just above water so we mistake survival for peace. Every bill is a test, every system a maze. Every morning we wake up still breathing. They treat it like proof that things must not be that bad. But let me tell you something. Being alive and being okay are two very different things. I'm tired of pretending this isn't war. We fight through grief like it's normal. We break quietly in public restrooms. We learn how to lie with our voices. Say, I'm good, like it's holy. We drag our bodies through 10-hour shifts just to fall asleep at red lights, notifications, and overdraft fees. We post half a smile, delete the tree, and then start again. And for what? So we don't look ungrateful? So we don't make the people who didn't make it feel like they were right to give up? Some days I scream into my steering wheel and feel guilty for having a steering wheel to scream into. Other days I make it all the way to midnight without folding. And I call that a win. There's no medal for this kind of fight. No audience, no pause button. It's just you. And whatever piece of yourself you didn't lose that day. And the worst part, you can do everything right. Be good, be kind, be real, and still lose the people you love. Because this world's taught them to be scared of people who feel too much. We weren't building wrong. We were built honest. But honesty doesn't pay the rent. So we adapt. We armor up. We become fluent in silence. But deep down, there's still that version of us that wanted to love, wanted to heal, wanted to believe in something softer, something safe, someone who wouldn't run just because we bled differently. I don't know who needs to hear this tonight, but you're not crazy for being angry. You're not weak for feeling it all. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're one of the ones who didn't drown. And that's not luck. That's strength. Thank y'all for being in there with me. I know it's late. I don't know what time it is for y'all, but it's after 3 a.m. for me. Um, well, I absolutely appreciate you coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. The next one is called She Let Me Bleed Like That. I don't know if they've read my other part of my story or not, or my ex-wife stabbed me in my lower back, mm, which is why I'm disabled now. And this is kind of another angle of that story when she stabbed me. She let me bleed like that. The stab wasn't the worst part. It was the way she stared while it happened, like she'd already detached, like I was just another broken thing in her house. Not her husband, not a man, not a father bleeding out next to the toilet. No panic, no remorse, just silence. The kind of silence that makes you question if you ever mattered in the first place. I pressed my hand to the wound, feeling the warmth spread through my shirt. Couldn't feel her though. She didn't move, didn't flinch, just watched me collapse. And you think your body would scream when that kind of pain hits, but mine didn't. I was so used to swallowing pain by then, I barely made a sound. I didn't even curse her name. I just sat in the blood and stayed. You stay when you're trained to believe love is violent. You stay when you think being hurt is the price of being held. You stay when you're so used to being invisible, even when your pain shows up late. And I stayed. Stitched myself up with duct tape. Didn't tell a soul. The story I told them was I slipped. The story I told myself was she's just sick. She didn't mean it, and I could fix it. But here's what I never said out loud. She watched me bleed and didn't try to stop it. There are people who will hurt you, and there are people who will let you hurt. One is a monster, the other is a man. I don't know which one she was, but I know what I became. A man who believed pain was part of the job. A man who learned how to hold his own blood in and his own truths back. A man who started measuring love by how many wounds he could hide. I'm not writing this to shame her. I'm writing this to wake someone up because someone out there is bleeding tonight and they think it's love. They think this is what relationships are supposed to be. They think staying is true and strength. It's not. Sometimes the bravest thing you'll ever do is leave the room before the next cut comes. Sometimes surviving isn't crawling away, it's standing up while they're still watching. I don't live in that house anymore, but part of me never left that floor. That night, something bled out of me besides blood, something I'll never get back. And maybe that's okay, because what came after was real, raw, ugly, unhealed, but mine. And if you're still listening, you probably know what that floor feels like. Maybe it wasn't a knife, maybe it was words, silence, withholding, shame. Whatever it was, you didn't deserve it. And you do not have to go through it alone. Want to hear a really dark one? It is late at night. Probably one of my darkest ones yet. Yay, nay. Grab a heart on there. Tap the heart for me if you want to hear. And if you want to keep it lighter, because believe me, I can get as dark as you want to go. Fuck it. We'll run with it anyways. I had to retitle this one. Um, it's titled, And I Still Hit the Second Shot. Nobody could save me. Not the cops, not rehab, not love. I had to crawl out of hell with my own damn hands. I died 100 times before I ever got clean. Not literally, but parts of me. The good parts, the laughing parts, the parts that still believe I could ever be more than a walking apology. People tried. They loved me, begged me, cried for me, threatened me, prayed over me. There were interventions, ultimatums, handcuffs, second chances, and open doors that I never deserved. And none of it worked because the truth is ugly. You cannot save someone who's still making friends with their own destruction. I wasn't ready to live. Not really. I was just tired. Tired enough to want relief, but not enough to want change. And that's a dangerous place to be because in that space, you'll keep crawling back to the very thing that's killing you, thinking this time it might love you better. But addiction doesn't love you, it just waits for you to slip. And I slipped again and again through courtrooms, through hospital beds, through cracked mirrors and bathrooms where I stared at a stranger with my name. People told me I had potential. People told me they were proud of me. People told me they were scared that they would find me dead. And I nodded, I promised, I swore, and then I just used again. Rock bottom, rock bottom for me. It was a one room apartment in the hood, hot as hell, quiet in that haunting way. I had a giant bag of dope and no one checking on me. Freedom, all right? I cooked up a shot that I knew was too strong, told myself I'd only take half. You know how it is. Draw back, see the blood, then the attic in you slams that plunger anyways. I blacked out. Next thing I knew, it was daylight. Needle was still hanging in my arm. I cleaned myself up like it was normal. Didn't pray, didn't cry. Just loaded that same rig, still half full, still bloody, and I still hit that second shot. That was the shot that gave me endocarditis, heart infection, a real one, a death sentence if you wait too long. And still, I didn't stop that day, not right away, because it didn't matter how close to death you get if you're still trying to outrun your own pain. So what changed? Nothing and everything. Every day after the infection, after the hospital, after the shame, I woke up and I realized I was done watching myself rot. Not because someone gave me a good speech, not because I saw God in a jail cell, not because I hit some magical aha moment, but because I looked at the life I built, the lies, the damage, the silence, and I said, I don't want this anymore. That was it. That was the shift. Not a miracle, just a bitter, quiet decision. Nobody was coming to save me. And if I wanted to live, I had to crawl out of the grave I kept digging for myself. Recovery is brutal. It's not a highlight reel. It's sweating through withdrawals, staring at the ceiling, thinking, I've ruined everything. It's rebuilding from scratch while everyone waits for you to fall again. But it's real and it's yours. For the first time, your life belongs to you. I don't care how far gone you think you are. I don't care how many times you've relapsed, how many bridges you've burned, or how deep the hole is. If you're still breathing, It's not too late, but nobody can carry you out. Nobody can heal you. Nobody can want it for you. You have to get sick of your own bullshit. You have to get tired of dying in slow motion. You have to decide, I'm done. And if you do, I promise you, there's life on the other side. Not perfect, not easy, but real. And that's more than enough. Loyalty is a razor. Loyalty is not love. Love fades, love lies. Loyalty carves itself into your ribs and stays there, even when the person you're loyal to is the one holding the knife. Let's get this straight. Loyalty is not some clean movie scene, ride or die. It's not a matching tattoo or a late night promise whispered into sweat and whiskey. It's the sick silence between betrayal and forgiveness. It's the hand you reach for after it's already slapped you. Loyalty is pulling up to the same house that wrecked you because someone inside is crying, and you still know the sound of their cry better than your own voice. I once bled on the bathroom floor for someone I thought would never hurt me. Not metaphorically, but actually bleed. Spine split open, towel pressed on my back, dizzy and shaking and still fucking quiet. Didn't call the cops, didn't call for help because loyalty told me to protect her from herself, even if she just tried to kill me. I wrapped it up, cleaned the blade, went to sleep beside her, didn't flinch because that's how deep it ran. That's what it looked like for me. Not romantic, not heroic, just real. I stood in courtrooms alone, waited outside jail gates for people who never came, watched contractors I paid feed lies to the media while I kept my mouth shut because loyalty don't snitch, even when you want to. I've handed out jobs to men who would have robbed me blind if I didn't beat the sun to the job site every morning. But I still showed up, still paid them, still had their backs. Loyalty isn't a decision, it's a defect. It's built into some of us like a disease. And yeah, it damn near killed me. Most people are only loyal to the version of you that benefits them. They love the you that shows up with cash, jokes, calm hands, but fuck up once, let the mask slip, bleed in public, and suddenly you're the villain. Loyalty doesn't need a crowd, it needs a graveyard, a place to bury the moments you should have walked away, but stayed anyways. Stayed broke, stayed silent, stayed bleeding. Let me ask you, are you loyal when it hurts? when it makes no sense, when the person doesn't deserve it anymore. Because if you aren't, you're not loyal, you're comfortable. There's a difference. Loyalty is staying quiet with secrets that could set the room on fire. It's fixing her car after she left you. It's driving 2 hours to a graveside you've tried to forget just to bring a flower you can't afford for a man who never said thank you. It's loving your child through glass, remembering birthdays from a cell, and hoping the lie you told to protect them was worth the price you paid. And when it dies, loyalty doesn't scream, it folds silently like a flag on a casket. No goodbye, no dramatic exit, just gone. And you walk away with nothing but and you won't a name you won't speak out loud again, and a scar that thrives when it rains. So if you're still standing after all of that, welcome. You were not broken. You're loyal in a world that isn't, and that's rare. So let them go. Let them wonder. Let them feel the echo of what you gave and what they lost. And next time someone earns what you carry, give it without fear, but never without memory. Because loyalty isn't a virtue, it's a fucking razor. And learned to hold it by the blade. You guys want me to keep going? There's 4 or 5 of you in there. Nobody's coming to save you. It's the kind of silence that doesn't heal, the kind that crawls in after the screaming stops, after the blood dries, after you've laid on the bathroom floor for hours trying to decide if you're dying or just too numb to care. And that's where I was, not metaphorically, literally bleeding from the back, staring at the base of the toilet, wondering if this is how this ends. She had stabbed me, said I poisoned her. Her pupils were blown wide from too many pills and too many years of not being believed. And then, just like that, she was calm, sweet again, cooking dinner like it never happened, like she didn't just try to kill me. Played along, taped the wound, didn't flinch when she touched me, because I knew I had to make it through the next night, and the next, and the next, until she finally disappeared, vanished like a ghost that took all the oxygen with her. And I went looking like a fool, still hoping to find the girl I fell in love with before the pills, before the madness, before the blade in my spine. And that's when they got me. Not for the stabbing, not for the hell she dragged me through, but for something else. Old charges, old demons. They waited until I was broken and alone and too tired to fight. Because that's the trick. Rock bottom doesn't come with sirens, it comes with silence. And if you're not ready, it buries you right where you fall. So hear me when I say this. Nobody's coming. Not your mama, not your ex, not the cops, not the system, not the friends who promised they'd always have your back. You are the cavalry. You are the medic. You are the last man standing at the scene of your own death. And if you don't get up, you stay dead. They won't come for your body. They'll step over it, call it collateral damage, blame you for bleeding in the first place. So either rock quietly or rip yourself out from the wreckage. Level the fuck up before silence becomes your obituary. All right. Red Punch, White Corolla. How about that? Red Punch, White Corolla. It was 2011 white Toyota Corolla, the one my dad had co-signed for when we got married, the one I kept clean like a lifeline, even when everything else in our lives was falling apart. Maybe that car mattered so much because it was the last thing that made me feel like I still had a future, a sliver of hope shining through the cracks. We were already tangled in a fight before we even pulled out of the driveway. One of those fights where the sparks fly so fast you forget how it even started. Words looping, echoing, clawing at each other with no end in sight. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white, trying to keep my voice steady, trying to hold myself together while the storm raged in the car. She sat there barefoot in the passenger seat, her black 6-inch stilettos tossed carelessly on the floor beside her. I noticed the condensation sweating down the outside of a giant 44-ounce gas station cup in the console, but didn't realize it was about to become a weapon. The cold liquid inside looked harmless enough, bright red, sugary fruit punch, until she grabbed it with the kind of fury I'd come to know too well. Without a warning, she threw the cup right into my lap mid-sentence. The icy, sticky punch soaked through my jeans, dripped onto the leather seats, pulled onto the floor mat like blood spilled from an open wound. The cold hit me like a slap, sharp and sudden, spreading fire and frost all at once across my thighs. My body jerked, blinked, flinched, fought for control. I couldn't say a word. There was no time. Before I could even process the shock, her heel crashed into the side of my head over and over. Sharp, stinging blows that echoed the chaos that had become our life together. I didn't fight back. I wouldn't. Not because I was weak, but because I had learned long ago that fighting fire with fire only burns everything down faster. So I gritted my teeth and slowed the Corolla down to barely more than a crawl, 10, maybe 15 miles an hour. Still moving, still trying to keep us both alive. And she opened the door and jumped out, barefoot, no hesitation, no glance back, just the thud of her feet hitting the asphalt, the suddenness of her sprint into traffic like she was trying to outrun something only she could see. Before I could even throw the car in park, she had flagged down the car behind us. Her face was wild, eyes wide with terror and accusations. She looked like a woman who'd just been abandoned on the side of the road to be killed or kidnapped. The damsel in distress, the innocent victim, the girl who needed saving from the big, bad, tattooed monster behind the wheel. And just like that, the whole story flipped. What mattered wasn't what had happened in that car. What mattered was the tears she cried, the panic she screamed, the false stories she told, the truth, our truth, disintegrated in the flames of her performance. No one saw the chaos that led us there. The nights I spent watching her scream at ghosts no one else could hear. The mornings I woke up to find the apartment torn apart like a hurricane had passed through. Cabinets ripped open, pictures smashed, clothes tossed like rag dolls. The paranoia that had convinced her I was planting microphones in the smoke detectors, spying on her every move, the gaslighting that made me question my own mind until I was numb. That day, all I could think about was her bare feet hitting hot asphalt, the danger she put herself in with every reckless step. What if she got hit? What if she got hurt? What if she disappeared, lost to the streets, or locked up again, and blamed me for all of it? She was a danger to herself, especially in those early days when the illness ruled her like a cruel puppeteer. And me, I was just a man stubborn enough to believe that if I held on long enough, I loved hard enough, I could save her from the darkness swallowing her whole. But I didn't know yet that the person I was trying to save her from was herself. And the person that I would lose trying is me. Hello, greetings. Where you from? What's happening, man? Appreciate you stopping in. No, just reading, getting some shit off my chest, I guess. Put all this into writing these things and did a podcast earlier and it made me realize like I wanted to put something together for that podcast, an exclusive. And just when I started thinking about what I wanted to write about, it made me cry. So then, of course, while writing it, I'm crying, and then now reading through the shit, I'm crying. So I guess in a way, uh, it's all therapeutic. Sometimes you sometimes just need to fucking cry, I guess. Although men like me aren't supposed to cry. Okay. Here we go. It's just three stories that I wrote for the night. Three things I never said out loud until the night. What's up with you? Up late, I'm getting up early. First time I wanted to die. Wasn't dramatic, it was quiet. I was 6 years old, living with my grandparents. No one sat me down and explained anything. No note, no suitcase moment. Just one day my mom was there and then she wasn't. Same with my dad. He'd pop up like a ghost every once in a while, say a few things that sounded like love and then vanish again. And I was left there in a house that smelled like coffee and dust, with two old people doing their best to hold together a story that I didn't even understand yet. They loved me, but they weren't my parents. And at that age, you don't need much to start breaking, just silence. I remember sitting on the back steps once, watching the sun hit the grass like it was supposed to mean something and thinking, is this it? Is this my life? Is this how it's going to be? Passed around, forgotten, pretending I'm okay so nobody has to worry about me. That was the first time that I didn't want to be here. Not in some loud movie scene way. I didn't want to hurt myself. I just wanted to stop existing, to blink and be somewhere else, to stop waiting for a door that was never going to open again. I didn't have words for it back then, but the ache was real. That sick, heavy knowing that the people who made you didn't stay to raise you. And somehow it was still your fault. That's what silence teaches you. Not directly, but you feel it. Every time the phone doesn't ring, every time the mailbox stays empty, every time Christmas morning feels a little too quiet. People think trauma starts with violence. Sometimes it starts with nothing, with a gap, with an absence so big you spend your whole life trying to fill it. That's what cracked in me, right there on those back steps. And I spent the rest of my life trying to prove that I was worth saving. Um, I think I'm gonna read this last one and then I'm probably gonna call it. Buddy, I know that one. Been dealing with that exact same thing with mine and myself. Sometimes being stubborn. Be a pain in the ass, I know. But you doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're up, you're aware, you're available, and that's all you can do. And that's the best thing you can do. Is just be available for whatever she needs. And I hope she feels better, man. Truly. I'm gonna read this last one. It's gonna hit me pretty hard. And I'm probably gonna call this live. It's already rounding an hour already on here, so I never told anyone this before. What I whispered to my daughter while she slept. The house was silent, but not peaceful. It was 2:13 a.m. I remembered the time because I checked it twice. She was 5, still needed night lights, still believed that I could fix everything. But that night, I couldn't even fix me. Her room smelled like fake strawberries and baby powder. Stuffed animals lined the bed like little bodyguards, hands curled under her cheek like she was praying in her sleep. And I sat there in the dark, trying to figure out how to say goodbye without saying it because I was drowning. And men like me don't cry in front of their daughters. So I whispered, so quiet, I was almost mouthing it. I'm trying, baby. I swear to God, I'm trying. Daddy's just tired. I'm sorry you had to see me like this. I don't know how to make it better, but I promise you, I'm not going to leave you. See, I said that last part 3 times, not because I was lying, but because I needed me to believe it. And because in our house, when you say something 3 times, it's set in stone. It's like I always used to tell her. Now say that again for me, love. Now one more time. One more time. And after 3 times, man, it's real now. Nobody can take it back. So I said it. I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you. Maybe nobody heard it, but the night itself. But that's the night that saved me. Not because I wanted to live, but because I couldn't stand the thought of her waking up to find out I didn't. Even broken, I stayed. Even bleeding, I showed up. Even lost, I whispered my way back home. And that's what love is, isn't it? It's not loud, not pretty, not clean, but quiet and messy and stubborn as hell. Ain't that the truth? All right, guys. It's almost 4 a.m. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me as late as it is. I appreciate the love, appreciate the hearts. I will absolutely be back tomorrow with more. I think I'm up to about 124 posts now, something like that. And I probably only read about 2 dozen of them. So I think I'm going to start doing this every day and just reading what I've been posting 2 or 3 times a day. So I'm just hopping on each night and reading those 2 or 3 posts. So you too, brother. I hope your girl feels better, man. I'll reach out to you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all sticking with me. Y'all have a good night.